Good mythical afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mr. Ayala with another vlog slash lecture for you. This is 8.2 Louisiana Purchase and Exploration. This one is a little lengthy, so please be aware of that. As always, please make sure you're viewing this as many times as that you need to do to be successful. And as always, please make sure that you're writing this down so you have notes, because, well, that's kind of important. Anyway, your objectives for this section is you need to be able to identify what the heck the West means in the early 1800s. You need to be able to explain why Napoleon was willing to sell all of Louisiana instead of just New Orleans. You need to be able to explain the major issues that Jefferson had with buying Louisiana, what was his problem. And you need to be able to describe the exploration of the new territories bought by Thomas Jefferson. So, quite a bit in this little tiny lecture. Well, not that tiny. Anyway. The West in 1800. So the West in this area was the area between the Appalachian Mountains to the Mississippi River. This was as west as the United States went. We have a couple of new states in 1800. We get Kentucky and Tennessee. In 1803, we have the state of Ohio. And as population in the West began to grow, so did political power. And a lot of the things that they want to deal with trade. Yet again, with most parts of the United States, it's all about how to make that money. How do we make those Benjamins? And so their major issues were the use of the Mississippi River, being able to go up and down it as many times as they feel like, and the use of the port of New Orleans, which was the largest port on, well, let's say the western part of the now or current United States, or I should say at that time, excuse me. So, anyway, so New Orleans and Napoleon. So, New Orleans and Louisiana was given back to France by Spain. So if you remember when we left off, we were talking about how after the American Revolution, Spain gets Louisiana. Shortly after, when the French go through their revolution, and Napoleon takes power, Spain gives it back as kind of a way to, please don't invade me type of deal. And so Spain ends up closing the port of New Orleans to the United States right before they transferred control back to France. And for the United States, we needed control of the Mississippi and New Orleans. That was how we traded on our western frontier. So to prevent war, Jefferson sends over a couple of delegates and he offers to buy New Orleans, the city itself. So a little bit of background knowledge on Napoleon. So he takes over France after the French Revolution, and he wants to sell not only New Orleans, but all of Louisiana. So he wants to sell all the stuff from the Mississippi River west, all the way to this Spanish territories of Colorado and Tejas, also known as Texas, all the way up to Oregon and Washington, which was still disputed territory. And what ends up happening, there's a couple of reasons why he wants to sell the whole thing. One, because Haiti went through their revolution and overthrew the French, Napoleon's idea of having a French empire in the Americas kind of just disappears. So he doesn't need Louisiana for that, and also he needs money to continue his war against Britain. And so Jefferson ends up hearing about this offer to buy all of Louisiana, but he wants to buy it. I mean, come on, you can double the size of the United States for $15 million or 3 cents an acre. I mean, heck yeah, that's a deal. But the problem is that he was concerned if the Constitution will allow him. He was what we call a strict constructionalist or a strict constitutionalist. He's a dem rep. His belief is that he should only do what the Constitution states. But this is such a good deal. He's like, I've got to stretch out that power. I've got to use it. I mean, come on, doubling the United States? Oh, heck yeah, 15 million? Yeah, I'll go in debt for that. So he does. So if you notice, this is our acquisition. So we started over in this area over here with the original 13 states. And all the parts that come out. Then we're going to buy this whole white dotted area. This would be the Louisiana Purchase. So if you noticed, we get a crap ton of land from them. We definitely double the size of the United States. But the problem is we bought all that, but we have no freaking clue what's in it. So he sends Lewis and Clark to explore the northern area, and then he was to send a guy named Zebulon Pike to do the southern area. So Jefferson chooses Meriwether Lewis and William Clark to explore these new lands. They are known as the Corps of Discovery. He chooses these two people because Meriwether Lewis is in the army, And William Clark was his buddy. He was an avid map maker and outdoorsman, aka a cartographer. He also had one of his slave with him, Clark. His name was York. York was considered one of the best hunters and sharpshooters in the countries during this time period. So yes, a slave was considered the best sharpshooter in the U.S. By the way, he does get his freedom after this expedition. So they left Independence, Missouri in 1804, and they have direct instructions from Jefferson. These are the exact things Jefferson says he wants him to do. 1, make good relations with the Native American tribes, because we've always had this tradition of not being very good with the Native Americans. He wants us to try to chill out a little bit. He wants to look for and find the Northwest Passage. Spoiler alert, doesn't exist. He wants to be able also to describe the landscape, the plants, and animals, because we have no freaking clue what the heck we bought. So in spring of 1805, a Native American named Sacagawea and her husband joined the expedition. Sacagawea is one of those awesome women that is just so cool. I mean, come on. She gives birth in the middle of the expedition, puts the baby on her back, and just keeps going. I mean, come on. And she's there mostly because she understood the languages of the Native Americans areas, people in the area, and she was a great translator. In 1805, they become the first Americans to travel across the whole continent over land and actually see the Pacific Ocean. And when they get back, they bring lots of geographic and scientific information, things that we never knew were there, like prairie dogs. We had no idea what the heck those were, or all the bison and stuff like that. It's pretty neat. The southern area is Jefferson sends, Zebulon Pike. He goes towards the Great Plains and then south towards the Rockies and Colorado. So he accidentally, with quotes in the air, goes over the Rio Grande and was captured by the Spanish. He was later released. Little known fact, Zebulon Pike was actually a spy for the Spanish and wanted to try to get the Spanish and the Americans to fight. Ends up failing because the United States was like, we don't really care about you, dude. So anyway, the Federalists threatened to secede. So the Federalists, who are mostly in the northern part of the United States, in particular New England, want to leave the Union because of the Louisiana Purchase, because they want to secede because they know that it would weaken New England's political and economic power. But because, yet again, they need one of the large states, either Virginia or New York, it fails because New York's like, oh, heck no, I ain't leaving. You guys are crazy. And that would be that. So Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr still are disliking each other. And so what happens is Hamilton finds out that Burr wants to help New England secede from the Union. And Hamilton is like, oh, heck no, Burr, you can't do that. You need to stop. But Burr still likes Hamilton because he blames Hamilton for making him lose the election of 1800 and challenges him to a duel. And during this duel, Hamilton is shot in the head and killed, while Burr ends up fleeing into the West. And so, yes, our vice president at the time kills another one of our founding fathers. Go figure. Anyway, your vlog question is when do you believe, so in your vlog, if you would please answer this question, when do you believe that it is right to go against your ethics and morals? Is there anything that will make you do that? Yes or no, and explain. Yeah, a little bit of a different question this time. I wanted a thinky one. Anyway, don't forget to be awesome.